Welcome, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for more Apollo Justice. So, let's go. April 19th, 11:21 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Oh god, I forgot this voice. It's been like a week. Alright, okay. Very impressive, Mr. Knight. I have to say, I expected nothing less. We've only just begun. I was hoping you could tell me a bit more about what happened, actually. I did not think you would believe me if I told you. Better that you discover the truth for yourself. I was thinking of you, you know. I think we need less thinking and more talking. That night in the hospital, what really happened? Ah, the way your eyes gleam, Mr. Knight. You'll scare Trucy. Speaking of which, where is she? You have seen the problem yourself. The letter. The one shot in the forehead. One, right? Yes, and the reason he speaks of it. I could not deny my mentor's wishes, even if it meant my own death. Why not? This is something I will not say. For now, at least. What's this for now business? I have done many things in my life. Some well, some poorly. But this is a cross we must bear, alone to our graves. We? You wanted to know about the night of the incident? Finally. This guy sure likes to take his time getting to the important stuff. Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night, at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. 2? Yes, the one I had used on stage. And the one that had been used by my partner, Valent. Oh, for the Zack and Valent's quick draw thing? My mentor had the look of one sleeping. I stood by his bedside, hearing only the light sound of his breathing. Then I took the pistol into my hand. I cannot deny that my resolve faltered then, for a moment. You faltered? You mean you thought about shooting him? I recall there was a reason I could not refuse his request. His last such request, though not his first. So, there were other requests you couldn't refuse before? To be honest, I've not always been steadfast, and I fear I've brought pain upon Trucy. Was Magnifique coercing his disciples somehow? Just what was going on in Troop Grimarier? Yet, in the end, I did not shoot him. I did not. Instead, I turned and shot the clown. I took the pistol head fired and placed it in my pocket. In your pocket? I believe if you examine the bullet in the clown's head, you will find it to be different than the one in my mentor. What were those called? Rifling marks. Yes, well, that is all I have to tell you concerning the case. Concerning the case? You mean there's something else you can tell me? You're a fascinating man, Mr. Knight. Thanks? Yes, there is something. My mentor, his eyes opened. What? Magnifique Grimarier? The old devil, he was not asleep, you see. Of course the gunshot would have woken him anyway. And there we had our last discussion as mentor and pupil. It was not a long discussion, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. I need water, Jesus. What did you talk about? Mr. Knight, did I not just tell you? It does not concern this case. Zack Grimarier, he seems pretty steadfast to me. Or maybe just stubborn. Mr. Wright, your presence is requested in the courtroom. Once again, I am in your hands. Right, let's get back in there. That tore me up. April 19, 11:37 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 7. Court is now back in session. During a recess, a bullet was found in and dug out from the clown's head. Well, this is news, and the rifling marks. There wasn't time to do a detailed analysis. Though they did find the weapon type matches the murder weapon. Well, that's not very conclusive, is it? Which is why I'm about to call my very decisive witness. Your decisive witness? How many times have I heard those words? Though they often turn out to be far less decisive than you think. Oh, that's why on my account, I'm quite confident this witness will do the job. After all, he is intimately acquainted with the players in our little production. Being the other half of Troupe Gamardier's famous duo, Zack and Valent. Vaillant Gamardier. So we get to meet the great Magnifie's other disciple. Oh, balls, my throat. I gotta make a younger version of this. It's only been 7 years, right? It's only been 7 years. How did he age up that much in 7 years? Perhaps we'll start by asking your name and occupation. Vaillant Gamardier. Magician. And you're the decisive witness, are you? You can prove your fellow student, your partner's guilt. Fate, the grand illusion, filled with traps and tricks. Wait, the shooting took place in that hospital after 11 o'clock at night. If you're a witness, does that mean you were there that night? If one were to deduce this logically, the conclusion is yes. Okay. I always get the characters, don't I? I have an interesting fact for you. You see, several days before the crime, my witness received this. That looks very familiar. Wait. That's the same letter Zack Gamardier received. Yes, or perhaps I should say, ta-da! Order, order, order! And what does it say? Surely not the same thing. Perhaps you should see for yourself. Why, it's practically the same! The court accepts this into evidence. Magnifie's letters, too, added to the court record. This is most unusual. Exactly what was going on with you folks? What exactly was your Troupe Gamardier up to? By which you mean? I'm just having trouble envisioning a man who would ask his students to kill him. Both of them, no less. It's just my opinion, Judge. But from these letters, I'd say he was coercing them, not asking them. We walked the magician path together, and in so doing shared much of our lives. When people are so close, there is strain, a warping of relations, you might say. Yet this has nothing to do with the case at hand. By which you mean you're not going to tell. Which makes me wonder even more about this reason they couldn't refuse. They kept them out of the wall. Well, let's get on with the testimony for starters. The defendant, Zack Gamardier, stands accused. Tell us why. Oh, I'll do more than that. Well, where he walks, the red roses arise, singing hymns to the miracle that is magic. Fascinating, though I hardly need to remind you that the evidence could just as clearly point to you as the suspect. The letter, the murder weapon, and now the 2 bullets found at the scene. In fact, the only difference seems to be the designated time. As every magician knows, timing is everything. Yes, and now it's time to get this party fired up. Night of the crime. That night I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifie requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. I did not imagine my fellow student might have received the same instructions. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss. I gave it to the clown. Then I informed the doctor and the police. So you're the one who reported the crime. Indeed, I would think. This fact alone would clear my name of suspicion. Let's not jump to any conclusions. Yes, the cross-examination generally comes before the conclusion of this court. But if the testimony proves to be true, then the defendant, Zach Grimardi, is guilty. And if it wasn't Zach Grimardi, then the killer was you, Valent. And no disappearing act will get you out of that. Time to not use psychic abilities. Here we go. Which, according to the letter, was 11:20 p.m. Indeed. In magic, timing is everything. Right. Consider the illusion of teleportation. If I were to appear on stage before my stunt double has left, how would that look? Why, it would reveal the very secrets of my magic. Now that you've revealed the very secrets of your magic for all of us, let's move on. You went to designated time, and what did you see? So, you weren't worried for your own safety at all? I mean, you smelled gunpowder, yes, but the shooter was still nearby. I did not consider this, to be honest. It is forbidden for a magician to have a good imagination. What? Really? Isn't magic all about illusions and imagination? How about this? You were the shooter, which is why you weren't afraid. Now you are the imagining. Now you are the one imagining. It is forbidden for a lawyer to have a good imagination. The witness will refrain from pausing so suspiciously before responding. My forbidden imagination is starting to imagine things. With the balls. Yes, stop pausing. Which brings us back to this reason neither of you could refuse. So it does, and my partner, he did not refuse. But McAfee wrote the same thing to you. Why could you refuse if Zack couldn't? Because I have a will of steel, of course. I also do this trick where I bend steel bars, so perhaps steel isn't so strong. So which is it? Mind if I continue? There were 2 bullet holes at the scene, one in the victim and one in the clown. You're saying the one who shot the clown was you? No doubt my partner Zack has said much the same. Yeah, because whoever didn't shoot the clown committed murder. I'd better dig around a bit more and see what I can turn up. Mr. Valent, let me ask about something else concerning the crime scene, namely the number of pistols. Come safe. How many pistols were there when you entered the room? By which you mean what, precisely? 2 pistols were used in the Zack and Valent quick draw shoot 'em, correct? 1 for each of you. You are well informed, yet. Only one of my old friends sat in the hospital room that night. What did Zack tell me back in the lobby? Of course, I had no intention of shooting my mentor. I snuck into his room that night at the appointed time, and found there upon his bedside table 2 pistols. I took the pistol I had fired and placed it in my pocket. I see no problem with that statement. Only 1 pistol is visible in the photograph of the crime scene, after all. So you picked up that pistol and fired it? Indeed I did. Alakazam, alakazazi, alakaboom. Is the number of pistols really so important? Quite important. The number of pistols is quite important, Your Honor. Very well. Please add this detail to your testimony. What can I do but obey? Only one pistol was in the hospital room that night. With it, I shot the clown. Yeah, go bit. So you informed the police. What did you do then? What do you suppose I did? Used my magic to levitate my mentor's corpse, perhaps? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Now please answer the question and skip the sarcasm. After I made my report, I recalled the doctor and returned to the room. While we waited for the police to arrive, we discussed stomach medicine. We've confirmed this with the doctor. It all checks out. He praised Mr. Valiant's knowledge of stomach medicine. In fact... it is an honor I do not deserve, but I accept. Both of Magnifie's students received the same letter. Both admit to having gone to the hospital that night. 2 bullets were fired, and one of them killed Magnifie. Time to find the cracks in his testimony. There's a crack in my throat. Ugh. Oh, we didn't press him. Let's just press him on it. So you took the only pistol there and fired it? That's correct. And that pistol was this one, which was left at the crime scene. Good show, I see you too are a magician of sorts. And now you're an idiot of sorts. You have any idea what you just said? I see the fire in your eyes as you glare at the witness. But how about heating up this trial a bit? These slow ballads bore me. I've got a hunch, but maybe that's all it is. Maybe we should ask about something else. No need. On second thought, let's run with this testimony for a while longer. Configure this. Save. Nope, not that. Okay. This? Okay, just the pistol. According to the defendant, Zach Gramaye, when he entered the room, there were 2 pistols on that table. 2? One of those pistols he used to shoot the clown in the forehead. Then he left with it in his pocket. Of course, this is what he would say. Like the hapless clown, we must assume our defendant has some brains in his head. Well, what about what Mr. Valiant has told us? You see, there's something about his testimony that doesn't make sense. What might that be? I told you I took the pistol that was there and shot the clown. That's your story, at least. Huh? But the rifling marks tell a very different story, Mr. Valiant. Recall what Prosecutor Gavin told us. We compared the bullet taken from the victim's skull with the bullet fired from this gun. The rifling marks in the bullets were a perfect match. Ah! Mr. Valiant, if you fired this pistol, then you shot the victim in the forehead. Ah. Order! 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 Well, this is all rather sudden. What have I done? Prosecutor Gavin, I owe the court an apology. Sorry. Sorry for what? You see, I was unaware that 2 of these unique pistols were crafted. The analysis of the rifling only proved the type of gun that fired them. But that's not what you told us before. You said you'd verified the murder weapon. Which is why I'm apologizing to you now. Quite sincerely, I might add. You should really feel like an a-hole for that one, though. Would you hold me accountable for a mistake made in my youth? That was just this morning. I'm still young. And I might add, it wasn't really my fault. If the defendant had only admitted he took 1 pistol from the scene of the crime, we would not be having this pleasant discussion now. Valiant Garamaye. Yes, Your Honor. You were presented to this court as a decisive witness, but you've proven to be more divisive than decisive. What? You'll see in no time. You'll see in time. The testimony so far has merely been a review of the facts. The proof comes next. Care to elaborate, Prosecutor Gavin? When Mr. Valent entered the hospital room, the victim had already been shot. As his next testimony will prove. Right? The real fight is about to begin. Bring it. Very well. The witness will now testify to the court. Help us determine who shot what. Listen to my voice. I need more water. I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation. Then I called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 10:10 p.m. And the other one in the room at that time was my partner, not me. What the forgery is 10:10 to 10:20? Those times are rather close, you have to admit. You're talking about an alibi established over a matter of minutes. Use a 10-minute discrepancy as the basis of your alibi. It's easy to explain in this situation, Judge? For example, take our debut hit single, 13 Years Hard Time for Love. Go to the song, press the play button, and it will play for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Do it 100 times, the result is the same. The debut single was only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long? What a ripoff! Magic is a world of utmost precision. Hocus Pocus requires admirable focus. And the time of death determined by the doctor there is an incontrovertible truth. Very well, the prosecution warns us that we're dealing with rather precise times. And we can expect the cross-examination to require the same level of precision. I would hope the defense refrains from its customary, merely broad, sweeping accusations. This will blur the focus this case so clearly demands. Point taken. Racist remarks will result in a penalty. What? Carry on, Mr. Wright. What? Carry on, right. Oh, what are we at here? Who shot what? I arrived in the hospital room at the appointed time, which is to say 11:20 p.m. After discovering the body, I fulfilled my obligation, then called in the doctor. The doctor examined the body before the police arrived. He was quite clear about the time of death, 11:10 p.m. The one in the room at that time was my partner, not me. An alibi over a matter of minutes. Precise is right. And pressing with impunity will earn me a nice penalty too. Better focus on one thing, this time of death. Oh god, this music's sounding good. So, the potential thing is that something is fake evidence. This could be forgery, so that he's supposed to show up at 11:10 instead or something like that, I don't know. What's this about? Zoom in. Someone had diabetes? I always hated getting shots. I guess Magnifi was giving himself the insulin shots. There's no way I could do that, Shudder. Wait! Did Magnifi use this to inject his insulin? Why are there no traces of it having been used? Something to keep in mind. Alright, okay. Alright, let's go. Come safe. Let's go. I don't think I'm stepping out on a limb to say I have some doubts about this. How could the doctor be so precise with the time? We do usually only get an estimated time of death, true. I'm not sure I've heard of a verified time of death. Magic reveals in making the complex appear simple, but reality is the opposite. What appears complex in this case is a simple matter of subtraction. I see another person has done their arithmetic homework. The point here is the IV the victim was taking. It's quite visible in the photograph of the scene. Recall what we heard earlier about the victim, Magnifi's Grammarly's schedule. Every night at 11, Magnifi took an IV trip for 30 minutes. I can see the IV bag right there, yes. Now look a little closer. Follow the tube down from the bag to the end. Ah, the needle's been removed. Doubtlessly, it fell out when he was shot. That would seem to be the case. When the needle comes out, the IV no longer drips. Ah, you could just measure the remaining IV liquid. Precisely. The IV liquid functions for our purposes as an hourglass of sorts. This is how the doctor determined the time of death. From the amount remaining in the bag, it was determined that the IV had stopped 10 minutes after administration began. Alright. And so it was, when I, Valent, entered that room. 10 minutes had passed since that horrible crime was committed. And this is proof. Well, Mr. Wright. Did that seem important? Very important. Well, seeing how it is the biggest clue we have to the time of death, I'd say it's very important. Agreed. It would be hard to imagine a more precise way to determine the time. Behold the power of arithmetic. Very well. The witness will add this detail to his testimony. Sometimes the most magical thing of all is the truth. The water of life springs not eternal. The remaining IV liquid proves my innocence. Take a look. For the remaining 10 minutes, the IV stopped 10 minutes after administration began. I want to use this, but how can I... Go ahead and save first. I'm scum saving too much, probably. But let's go ahead and scum save. Present this. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Okay. This. No? Turns out I'm wrong. This isn't the place to hit him. Oh, wait. Why am I not just pressing on this? Press it. Did you notice the IV yourself, by any chance? When first I entered that room, the stench of gunpowder assailed me. Next, the mark of death upon my mentor's forehead. And then his left arm did I spy a rose, drooping and wilted. Its thorn, the discarded IV needle. Its thorn, the discarded IV needle. Knocked from the vein by the force of the shot, luckily for you. If that IV had not been there, well, you might be a suspect. Indubitably so. I might say it's thanks to my lucky color. Your lucky color? Indeed, even today I wear it proudly upon my suspect self, for it always, without fail, brings me luck. Why, when Zack and Valent won their first Magician's Grand Prix, yes, the very one held by the Association of International Magicians. I was known in this attire then too, and our trophy, a bust. What a day it was. This is one trip down memory lane no one needs. My lucky color, yes indeed, and that IV too. I'd say I think it was huge, especially for me, Valent. That does seem to be the case indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, any thoughts on this testimony? Valent sure looks happy with himself. Okay, how about this lucky color testimony? Come see. It certainly sounds like your lucky colors brought you plenty of luck. But not this time. Mr. Valent, your lucky colors betrayed you. I'm afraid you've lost me. Your Honor, the witness's testimony just now clearly contradicts the evidence. What? I have no idea. Please recall my warning at the beginning of the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Baseless accusations will be duly penalized. I do hope this latest accusation is well based. Don't worry, I've got all your bases right here. Very well, let's hear the defense's claim. Where's your evidence that contradicts what Mr. Valent has told us? The IV itself? The crime scene tells all, Your Honor. The photo of the crime scene. All this talk of color has me yearning for black and white, clear-cut simplicity. Tell us, forehead, just where is the contradiction in this photo? My pleasure, and I assure you, it's quite simple. But I can't promise anything in black and white. Let's hear what Mr. Wright has to say. What in this photo contradicts the witness's testimony? The IV? Valent Grimarier, let's get one thing straight about your lucky color. It's yellow, yes? Kind of takes the mister out of it, but yes. Something wrong with yellow, Mr. Knight? Yes, there is. Decisively wrong, in fact. Take another look at the photo in the crime scene. What's this? Confusion, doubt. Tell us, what do your elderly eyes spy? Even my elderly eyes can see a problem here, Mr. Valent. Look at that IV bag. Ah! What is this? What? Foul magic? It would be hard to call the IV liquid yellow. And I'm afraid no magic was involved in the taking of this photograph. Ah! I like a no! Oh my god! Birds came out of his crotch, and 2 bunnies. Order! 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 What does this mean? Objection! This is some kind of mistake. Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Your witness's mistake. The greener they are, the harder they fall. I suppose there's no substitute for experience. Valent Grimarier has reminded us several times. Your lucky color is yellow, but the IV is clearly not. Well, why is this the contradiction that we're dealing with? This contradiction can only mean one thing. Objection! And to think, you almost had me. I see your true colors now, Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright. Something you'd like to tell us, Prosecutor Gavin? As far as this court can tell, the witness's testimony does contradict the evidence. Yes, a contradiction. One that I shall be pleased to hand right back to Mr. Wright. How do you mean? How? Because the witness has made no mistakes. I agree at a glance. The IV liquid does appear to a sort of greenish yellow. But I assure you the liquid itself is quite yellow. Yellow liquid? How can you say that? As far as I can tell from this photo, it's green. Yes, but what color is the IV bag in itself? The bag? You mean the plastic bag on the hook? It looks like I want to say light blue. Precisely. Figure it out yet? But the yellow liquid in a blue bag and you get green. This, incidentally, is the liquid's true color. I see. Your explanation does have a ring of truth to it. As I thought. There's no substitute for experience, Prosecutor Gavin. What? You may tell a good tale. But you've just proven something rather grave. For you, that is. Grave? The liquid in the IV is yellow, yes. But how did this witness know that? There it is! I was trying to figure out what they're going for here. Ah, yeah. How would he know that if he's seeing it in this IV, right? Okay. Okay. It's quite unnatural when you think about it. You did think about it, didn't you? Your Honor, the defense requests an explanation from the witness. At the scene of the crime, the IV liquid appears to be green. So let me ask, how did the witness know the IV liquid was actually yellow? Alicus, oh my god! Alicus, oh my god! Okay. Order! Mr. Knight, you will explain this at once. The witness clearly knew the color of the IV liquid, so I'm sure it means something, but what? I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. The witness, Valiant Gamardier, has testified that the IV liquid was yellow because... Oh yeah, but... It looked yellow. There's a reason that the IV liquid looked yellow to the witness. I bet. Mr. Wright? That I bet at the end there. It worries me. Am I right in the assumption that you hope there's a reason, not no? Perhaps, yes, definitely. Then allow me to crush that hope as gentle and gentlemanly as I can. One more chance, please. I can think of only one possibility, Your Honor. From the facts before us, the answer is clear. The witness knew that the IV liquid was yellow. Why? Because he'd seen it before. But not inside the blue bag we see in the photo. He saw the liquid by itself in a clear, colorless bag. I suppose he would have too, but... I'm still not clear as to what all this means. Ask yourself, why would he know if he didn't work at the hospital? That's where you'll find your meaning, Your Honor. I'm afraid I find nothing. So what if he knew the IV liquid's color? He'd be getting excited over absolutely nothing to our teeny bopper fans, yeah? The IV liquid is the only evidence proving the time of death. A 30-minute hourglass with 20 minutes worth of sand. Your claim, Prosecutor Gavin. I remember it well. However, there's a critical difference between an hourglass and an IV bag. Oh, wait, I know. An hourglass uses sand, but an IV bag uses liquid. I'm right? As much as it pains me to say this, Your Honor, no. Like the sand through an hourglass, IV liquid enters the patient's body. At which point, like magic, it disappears. However, what if the amount of IV liquid had increased? You couldn't tell, could you? After all, there's no way of knowing how much went in. Let me get this straight, Ed, right? You're saying the witness watered down the victim's IV bag? Not with water, but with IV liquid. That's how you knew the IV liquid was yellow. Now wait! I said wait! How might an amateur such as myself essay to perform such a task? I'm an amateur too, but I can pour water into a cup. I'm afraid there's quite a big difference between a cup and an IV bag, quite. Can you prove our witness is capable of such a feat? He has a point, amateurs. I at least would have some difficulty pouring IV liquid into that bag. You don't need an expert to see the look on the witness's face. He added liquid to that IV to throw off the time of death. I tell you, these fairy tales lacking evidence. Well, Mr. Knight, any solid evidence to bring us back down to earth? Valiant Gamadier. I'm afraid your magic won't serve you well in a life of crime. Might I ask what you're strongly suggesting? Magic relies on props, and props become evidence. Our witness was certainly able to increase the amount of IV liquid in the bag. All he had to do was work a little magic, and the prop was... Let me go with this. The victim's syringe. It's the perfect prop for the magical increasing IV trick. And easy enough for an amateur to use. What kind of evidence is that? The syringe was clean, not a trace of liquid in it. And don't you find that odd, Prosecutor Kevin? What? The victim had the syringe to administer his insulin shots. There should have been traces of insulin left inside. There it is. Well, Valiant Gamarier, as you pointed out yourself, the IV liquid makes the perfect clock. One that you could manipulate at will. The freaking bunnies. I do believe, well, with this being his first, that the burden of this trial has been a bit too much to bear for Prosecutor Gavin. I'm afraid that, while there is a doubt as to the amount of IV liquid in that bag, the time of death cannot be proven. And that brings our trial to a close for today. Well, maybe I can squeeze an extra day out of this. I can do a little much-needed investigation work. I see there are no objections. Go to Okay. Truly, there's no substitute for experience. Nothing blinds one to the truth so effectively. Huh? A word to the wise. Underestimate the young, and they'll sweep your feet out from under you. In a way you never have ever expected. You see? I know exactly what you're thinking. What's he talking about? You say the witness used the syringe to manipulate the level of the IV liquid. But there's no proof. There's no proof he didn't do it either. Yes, quite true. Huh? He's admitting it. Nor was this witness quite as decisive as I'd hoped. This I admit, after all, why linger in the past, and the future holds so much. You have something in mind, Prosecutor Gavin? Proof, Herr Judge. I have another way to prove my case. With evidence, no less. What's this? This is the victim, Magnifique Almaria's diary. Diary? After going into the hospital, Magnifique began writing his memoirs, it seems. The story of his birth, his startling debut, and of meeting his disciples. It seems he intended for the last chapter to end, quite appropriately, with his death. Wait, that book doesn't say what the reason was, does it? The reason why his disciples couldn't refuse his last request? Sadly, it does not. What's important here is on the last page. Apparently the victim wrote in his journal that night. He wrote that the IV had begun at 11 p.m. Let's read it, shall we? This does appear to have been written just before his death. The court accepts this into the evidence. Alright. Read the very last part with particular care. Tonight's IV is in, maybe the last. I leave the rest to them. The first should come soon. This journal may end here, or it may go on, but not long. That depends. This journal may end here, or it may go on, but not long. That depends on his hand. Of course, by his. Wait a second, what? Let me read that. How do we open the book? There we go. This is the last page. The diary ends here. Huh? What's this? It looks like a page was ripped out. Well, now isn't that interesting? I was hoping to read the passage. Alright. The first defendant, Sakurai. That would make sense, yes. He was the first scheduled visitor after all. But look at what he said before that. This journal may end here, or it may go on. It may go on. Magnifique Grumaye intended to write again. That is, if Sakurai didn't pull the trigger. I see the defense understands the meaning of this. The victim's diary does not go on, it ends. Because Magnifie's life was brought to an end by the defendant, Sakurai. Order! Prosecutor Gavin, are you certain that Magnifique Grumaye wrote this? There's no mistaking his handwriting. Well, this seems to be significant. According to this, Magnifique did intend to continue his diary. Yet, if his diary ended here, which plainly it did, then the one who pulled the trigger was the first visitor, Sakurai. Well, how do you like me now? Right? I'm losing my voices here. Still too green for your taste? He's right about the diary being pretty clear. Still, I find it hard to believe that he'd overlooked such an obvious problem with his precious evidence. Well, Mr. Wright, the witness's testimony was we heard was lacking. But put together with this evidence, it does seem quite sufficient for a case. Really, it does? If the diary is accepted like this, the trial's over. Maybe it's time for me to show them something. And here's where you fall into a trap. I'm left with no choice but to show my own evidence. What? You have some evidence that overturns this diary? It's not too late to rethink this and avoid more embarrassment. Very well. Please show us your evidence, Mr. Wright. Incidentally, don't even think about showing us this diary I've just shown the court. Now that we've come this far, I hope you have something a little more decisive. Shows evidence that proves the victim continued writing his diary. Alright, I'd be happy to. The decisive evidence proving that the diary didn't end with this page is... I'm safe. First, take a close look at this diary. Note that a page has clearly been ripped out. What's this? I hadn't noticed that at all. That's what we're still here talking about, isn't it? That's why we're still here talking about this. As it just so happens, I have here what I believe to be the missing page. Alaka, I don't believe it! Oh my god, looking at this page, it's hard to imagine that the first visitor that night shot Magnifique Grumaye. That's the defense's position. Wait, let me see that. What in Sam Hill? Why, this is the continuation of the victim's diary. And now it's gonna go wrong. Note the torn edge off of the page. It's a perfect match with the torn remains of the last page in Magnifie's diary. Quite remarkable. Would you care to explain what all this means, attorney? The diary continued after his first visitor came, which means that the victim was still alive after Sakurai left, leaving no one to take his life but the second visitor. Valiant Grenadier! No! No! The handwriting, too, matches that on the other pages. This is without a doubt the genuine article. Order! 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 But wait! That's impossible! That old man couldn't have written that.
Objection!
Finally! You just couldn't resist, could you, Wright? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Judge? Yes, Prosecutor Gavin. Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. But, Prosecutor Gavin! This evidence overturns the current witnesses. I ask only to put it on hold. Please, my new witness has a very, very important piece of testimony to give. 5 minutes, no more. I promise, Your Honor. Well, if you put it that way, Mr. Wright, what's your take on this? Well, Your Honor, judging from his enthusiasm, we'll have to hear this new testimony sooner or later anyway. So it might as well be sooner. Then, though this is highly, highly irregular, we will put the current cross-examination on hold. The witness may step down. Now, Prosecutor Gavin, please bring the surprise witness to the courtroom. Okay, we're going to stop there because my throat's going to give out. It's already given out. Alright. I had a bad feeling just then. Cliffhanger. Okay, so we know what happens, but... Alright, we'll find out next time. So that right there is the game for now. I have fun. Hope everyone watching. That's what's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time. I assume it's someone with the final page or something, which is going to get Phoenix in trouble. But we'll see next time.